welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Townhall, a series of conversations that we do where we meet directly and face-to-face with entrepreneurs like yourself and give you the opportunity to be front and center on a national platform. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan, tonight bringing you highlights and the key takeaways from a town hall that we did in Chandigarh, talking about jump-starting infrastructure and agriculture post-pandemic. My colleague Pooja Jain was in Chandigarh interacting with our panel and interacting with our audience. Listen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Leaders of Tomorrow Town Hall in the incredibly warm and welcoming city of Chandigarh. And to set the tone for this evening in particular, if I could now please invite on stage a very special guest, the head of Branch Banking South for IDFC First Bank, Mr. Anto Alan, PJ. Sir, if I could please have you address our August gathering. Huge round of applause, please.
A very good evening for this August gathering here. On behalf of IDFC First Bank, I take great pleasure in welcoming each and every one of the delegates here present today. My name is Anto, and I basically head business banking for IDFC First Bank, and that's what we are here for. This event has been very aptly named the Leaders for Tomorrow, especially addressing the MSME segment. This is a great way the event has got branded across. What I would, for the next few minutes, thought would take you through our bank and our offerings in the business banking segment for us to get a brief glimpse of what we have on the table to offer. We are on a mission to build the world's best bank, just not to build the world's first bank, but also in the process guided by ethics, by customer-first values, driven by technology, and I think that's a core of everything that we do, as well as make it the world's best bank to bank with. So that's typically what we are looking to do here. And one brand promise that we have is always you first. I will dwell a little bit more on always you first. What do we exactly mean by always you first? Because in every product that we do and every product that we launch, this core theme runs everywhere. For example, I would like to take through, for example, credit cards as a case in point. For a long, credit cards in this country have been operating at that interest rate market in the range of about 36% and upwards onwards. What we had done was we had linked it to the credit history, and we start with 10%. So our annual rate on the card spends which gets revolved it starts at about 10%. So that's the lowest in the industry. Number two, when you withdraw cash using a credit card, the interest starts on the day one. That entire 36% or upwards APR which is applicable, the interest starts on day one. And we had again revolutionized this, stating that we will not charge interest on the cash withdrawal on cards. And similarly, if you have been using a card, the kind of pain which happens in the encashing of those reward points. In all our online platform solutions, we have this option of encashing the reward points directly. So either you pay by cash or you encash it by reward points so that your reward point gets debit. You don't have to go to a separate proprietary site to do that. So those are the kind of things in every product. For example, our savings bank offer interest is at about 6%. In current account also, we go beyond banking. We do a lot of tie-ups to ensure that we just not only take care of the business, but also the entire social network around the business. So in every product line of ours, you'll see this theme running around, and that's where I thought we'll take a bit on this. Obviously, on MSME, there's no need to reiterate the criticality and the importance of MSME, contributing to almost 30% of the country's GDP, and almost nearly half the country's exports. 63 million MSMEs contributing about 48% of the country's exports, with 30% of the of the GDP which is there. And naturally, a large employer, almost 11 crore jobs, which is there in the MSME segment. And therefore, this segment, both for the country and therefore, because we are a bank which is in step with the country, also critically important for us. So this is typically what why we had made this segment a segment of importance for us. And if you see, we offer the entire gamut of services in business banking. For the current account customer, for the MSME customer, starting with the transaction banking solutions, which is basically your net banking solutions, which offers you layered approval processes. It brings in, for most of the MSMEs or also family organizations, it also incorporates both your current and personal into one single window so that you have access to both, and we have different access views depending on how you define it. Number two, we have an approval process on the go. Like many companies define a certain level of approval processes. There are certain people who can upload it. There's a certain people who can upload it, approve it. So we have on the mobile, on the go, we have a layered approval process. So somebody can upload it from office. If you're traveling somewhere, if you're in meetings like this, if you want to approve it, you can approve it on your mobile, so that your business doesn't stop wherever you are. We also recognize the fact that MSMEs are going global, and therefore there are a lot of both entities setting up units abroad, as well as FDIs coming into a lot of companies, especially on the startup side, for instance. So we also set up a capital advisory, a structured solution desk. In fact, my colleague, Mr. Sonal, heads the capital solutions, the structured solutions desk. And with respect to FEMA regulations, with respect to regulatory guidelines, with respect to structuring of these deals, because a lot of time we realize that in principle, the deal is agreed upon, but because there's an SCGPR which has not been filed earlier, or because there's a regulatory complaint which has not been met earlier, that deal gets stuck on some of these things. So we have set up a very dedicated, understanding the global requirements of MSME, we have set up a dedicated structured solutions, which looks into each of these solution offerings so that life becomes easier for you. So it's on the trade and the structured solution side. We also have a very dedicated working capital line. We have a large book present. In fact, from the origin, from the beginning, we have been a very large MSME player. Our book constitutes a large portion of SME, on SME. And we have built our expertise in building this in the segment. So what's so different in our MSME offering in the loan side? Obviously, the country also has developed a lot in terms of infrastructure, in terms of data availability, and GST is today rich in a lot of data. So the traditional view of MSME lending is 3 years financials, 12 months bank statement, and I remember, because I've been doing this business for more than 2 decades now, when I had started off, if you say funding for working capital, then typically the documentation will be this much. But thankfully today, thanks to advances in technology, thanks to a lot of fintech partnerships, thanks to a lot of advances in what the government also has done in terms of this whole ecosystem, we are able to do almost a seamless, paperless journey here. With the GST integration done and the kind of analytics which can come through that, we have a product up to 5 crores which can be done purely based on GST with no financials required. So that's a kind of this thing, and touch of the turnaround times of 24 hours, you get a sanction, which is at least from the time that I have started lending. I'm sure most of you also would have faced it when you're dealing with your banks. It's a significant step forward in that direction. So quick touch, almost a paperless journey. And amounts of up to 5 crores is something that we can do on the SME side. This is what I had mentioned about a structured solution desk. Especially if you're involved in exports, for instance, or imports, both exports and imports, as well as if you're setting up subsidiaries out, or if you're repatriating, you have a unit out which is doing business and it wants to repatriate money inside, working both ways, money from here to out or out from here. We have a dedicated structured solution desk which will help you in each of these requirements in regulatory filing, in regulatory reporting, FEMA queries, guidelines, setup which focuses on the global requirement and the global needs of MSMEs. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and pleasure meeting you soon. Thank you so much.
I'm going to slip into a short break. We are back in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow Town Hall.
Naveen, you are, of course, a very familiar face to the leaders of tomorrow, and I'd love to kick off the conversation with you, sir. Now, somewhat surprisingly, the city of Chandigarh, or the district, or the Union Territory, has amongst the highest per capita incomes nationwide. And yet the largest employer is the government or the public service sector. So for an outsider looking in, this is, at least at first glance, seemingly contradictory. How do you explain it?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Chandigarh Puja.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to put it this way about Chandigarh. Chandigarh has a very different character. It is just 110 square kilometers, union territory, but having 3 governments functioning from here. So you can just imagine, this can only be a showcase.
Right.
We have challenges of space here, number 1. Number 2, regarding agriculture, if you say, as I said, it's a showcase. On agriculture development, we have the biggest agro-tech fair. That is the biggest trade fair on agriculture in India. Every 2 years we have. So it attracts a lot of talent pool. It's give a lot of opportunities to the startups on agriculture. We have a lot of talent pool here with so many education hubs. We have research centers like ICER and so many of them, ISB, Punjab University, PEC.
Right.
So talent pool is there, infrastructure is there. Like you said, we have highest per capita income. We have highest, I believe, per capita vehicles. We have we are topping on the index of living. And I think couple of more we are topping. But unfortunately, very unfortunately for us MSMEs, we are last, Chandigarh is the last ease of doing business. We are the 30th. So that I would analyze that it's because of the bureaucracy. Being, unfortunately, we are union territory, we are governed by Ministry of Home Affairs. So we only have legislative officers, bureaucrats here. Anything we have to get green signals from Ministry of Home Affairs. That's unfortunate part. But nevertheless, talent pool is there. Startups have immense promising opportunities. So investments, no issue. So this is about Chandigarh.
Well, sir, thank you for painting both sides of the picture, because I think that's incredibly important. And I'd like to build on some of your observations and pose my next question to you, Rajiv. I'd like to understand if you echo the same sentiment in terms of bottlenecks when it comes to ease of doing business. And how has the city taken the pandemic in its stride? Have you seen the city diversify its economy, perhaps? And what are some of the sectors that have emerged as some of the more promising sunrise sectors?
As I was mentioning, with all the challenges here, we at CII thought of this also well in advance, and then we had brought up with this idea of why don't we involve the 2 other cities here and make it a greater part, greater Chandigarh region. So that now that area which we are talking of, what we are looking at the industrial areas, which are the limitation of space is there. When we involve these 3 other cities and make it greater Chandigarh, then this issue is addressed. And that is what we have to look at. So with the administration, we have taken up this point that why don't they have an interaction with their respective counterparts in the other 2 states of Haryana and Punjab. And we can then look for common solutions to that. And with this, we are also looking at what is the ease of communication between the 3 cities. That is also what to be seen also. Because once these three cities come together, we have looking at transfer of goods. We are looking at communications to be there in full way. So this is what we are planning to do and come out with, so that the solution is there. So that is our viewpoint at the moment.
Absolutely, sir. And, Taranjeet, I'll come to you now, because if I rewind back, 2 years or so to the onset of the pandemic, I think supply chains came to a grinding halt. And that, of course, also includes the agricultural supply chain, with food quality, food pricing, and food supply, frankly, becoming top emerging leading concerns. Some of them have persisted. So how did Chandigarh's agro-business community respond to many of these unanticipated challenges?
I think all of this came as a big boon.
How
for
so,
the,
sir?
Yeah, for the overall community of agriculture, because disruptions in supply chain, which happened for the first time after 2020, were never envisaged. And people were not prepared, businesses were not prepared. Yet the resilience to, do and kind of sustain during this time, they did. But what was understood very well is that now people have to move away from traditional ways of, agriculture to a more digitized economy. And I think that sitting on that thought itself, we can say that today India stands at $50 billion of exports, which is projected to go to $400 billion, is because of this that, people said that we will build a new resilient agriculture supply chain, bereft of all the vagaries that are, prevalent today. And never get disrupted by the way Corona actually did, where we didn't know how will mandi operate, who will go for harvesting, how will, things operate. And that is shown in the way that India will become, a football of the world in this decade itself. And we are very positive that what agriculture will now transform is because of this demand and the geopolitical situation which is erupting out of Ukraine and Russia. I think will enable more demand from India. And the more demand means our agriculture will respond to it much more better manner. And I think that's what we believe, that that's how it will transform the whole agriculture value chain.
And sir, what might this mean for Chandigarh specifically, for entrepreneurs in our audience that are perhaps pursuing or considering pursuing agribusiness, professionally? Where do you believe the most promising opportunities now lie?
I think today agribusiness per se, anything that you are getting into specialized value chains has an immense potential. You can get into very specialized value chains, let's say a lychee or a kiwi, or exports oriented value chains where exports to Middle East, export to Europe, etc. can be done at a much better manner from this region. And I think the second important is Punjab was always known, or this region was always known for more mechanized agriculture, still lower than the world average, but I believe that that has to be now taken with full advantage, a bit more mechanization, and I think we can move to a much better delivery to the world.
Phenomenal. Now, what Chandigarh is also, of course, known for is its superior public infrastructure. I believe so. In the short time that I've been here, you can't help but notice the incredibly wide, well-maintained roads. Naveen, as you mentioned, it's the city with the highest number of vehicles per capita. So, what role has this public infrastructure played in attracting investment dollars to this city and this union territory?
It's a smart city, becoming even smarter now. With so many, we have smart grids in Lake City. Now we need not have, we will be metered at the substations, the smart grids we have. Traffic management, yes, we have ICC integrated centers. So cycle tracks. So all these are attracting the talent pool from outside. The quality of life here will not let, hopefully, will not let people from Chandigarh, Punjab, Haryana to go outside India. So I'm sure with this infrastructures, they will be having world-class facilities here, and like the startups like Taran on agriculture, especially finance. So people are going to be here.
Completely out of time on tonight's town hall. That was part 1. Part 2 is coming up. Here's what we have lined up for you.
Government has to step in and attract the pool right here. They don't have to go to Canada or US or maybe somewhere out. So that government has to step in. And
this city also has one aspect what we call the heritage city. So that still sticks to the city's growth when you're talking about technology coming in.
One of the biggest things that professionals look when they move into a city is the education of their kids. And this city provides that. One of the best schools of India exists in Chandigarh.
All right, that was part 2 of the Leaders of Tomorrow Town Hall coming to you from Chandigarh. Where else are we heading next? What are some of the themes and topics that matter the most to you that you feel we should be discussing here on the Town Hall? All of that is on our website, the details of which coming up as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.